Mount Vernon Mayor Shawyn Patterson-Howard. County Executive George Latimer. DEC Commissioner Basil Sagos. EFC President Maureen Coleman. White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council Vice Chair Catherine Coleman Flowers. Senate Majority Leader Andrea Stewart-Cousins. Assemblyman Gary Pretlow. Mount Vernon resident Linda McNeil. And Governor Kathy Hochul.
Good morning, everyone. So I was sitting there talking to our faith leaders. I said, this is a very interesting time. We are in the middle of Ramadan. Today starts Passover, and it is also Good Friday. So, everything is aligning, and this is going to be a great day for Mount Vernon. We are really excited to have you all here with us this morning as we come together to speak about and to share a journey of partnership and collaboration, because you can't do anything by yourself. We're really excited about this partnership between the city of Mount Vernon, the state of New York, and the county of Westchester. When you're dealing with a Herculean challenge, you need resources at a Herculean level to address it. Mount Vernon for over 20 years has been plagued with a lot of sewage and stormwater challenges, and it is not something that we could conquer on our own. We were able to work with our residents, and I'm not going to start mentioning the names right now, and our residents came forward to tell their story. Other residents came to connect us with national leaders in environmental justice. And those national leaders partnered with us, where in other places they've partnered with compliance organizations. They realized that Mount Vernon wanted to fix its problem and not run away from it. They said, we've never seen a community that came forward and asked for help and took absolute responsibility. And so the Natural Resource Defense Council, as well as the National Wildlife Federation, came to partner with us as opposed to work against us. And so we're excited today. We want to thank our Governor Kathy Hochul for coming. For months and months, she has rallied her team to find ways to lead discussions with Mount Vernon and Westchester County about how we could come together to bring solutions to Mount Vernon. I want to acknowledge a few people who are in the room with us, and the governor is going to acknowledge some more. So our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins. Our City Council President, Derek Thompson. Our Comptroller, the Reverend Dr. Darren Morton. Caitlin Gleasing, our City Council, Acting Pro Tem. Not here at this moment are Lisa Copeland, Ed Poteet, and Danielle Brown, who round off our City Council. We want to go back up to the county and recognize our county legislator, Tyree Woodson Samuels. Our county legislator, David Tubiolo. Our commissioner of DPW, Damani Bush. Reverend Franklin Richardson, Grace Baptist. Reverend Troy DeCohen. Miss Judith Watson from the Neighborhood Health Center. Miss Joanne Dunn from our youth shelter. I'm going to ask if the Mount Vernon leadership team would please stand up. Leadership team, you know who you are. Thank you. Those are some of our commissioners, deputies, as well as our directors. Is Miss Anitra Hadley in the building? She's not here. She's the resident that made the calls to the calls, and so I want to publicly acknowledge her. I want to. Mr. Marcus Sibley, if you could please stand. He's with the National Wildlife Federation. So these are just some of the partners. Clearly, decades of inaction have endangered the health and the economic wellness of this community. And we started acting in January of 2020 to immediately fix this and remediate these challenges. We're excited for the opportunity to revitalize our community through doing our infrastructure. That's all we've heard for the last few years is infrastructure, infrastructure. And Mount Vernon has its share of infrastructure challenges, from sewers to roads to bridges to municipal parking lots to municipally owned buildings. We have not necessarily invested, and so this is a new day of investment. Rebuilding our infrastructure is going to be critical to the economic vibrance of our community, as well as to the social and physical health. The number of jobs that will be created by these investments is going to be paramount to the economic success of this community. And so we're not just talking about money, but job training opportunities so that we can hire local and reinvest in the community. Our partnership with the state, with the county, with Natural Resources Defense Council, I'm sorry, is Mitch Bernard. Mitch, if you could please stand. And the National Wildlife Federation shows that Mount Vernon is positioning itself as a community that is focused on environmental justice. We're having these conversations locally on the statewide level, and we're even leading these conversations on a federal level. Mount Vernon is at the table. We are pushing forward, and we are looking to continue to bring resources and partnerships back to our community. I ask for our community to have patience as we fix these challenges. These challenges are not going to be fixed overnight, and so they will take time, but we are moving in the right direction. I truly believe that we can be a model. We are a city of 4 square miles, 75,000 on paper, but we know it's about 102 in reality. One of the most densely populated communities in the country. We are the blackest community north of the Mason-Dixon line with 62% of African diaspora. And when we speak about black and brown, we are 86% black and brown. This is very important. So as we talk about environmental justice and equity, Mount Vernon is clearly one of the places in this, not just in this region, but in this country where we must begin this conversation. And so with that being said, I want to give space to our governor, who has come in. When she was lieutenant governor, she came down, she had the conversations, she understood the challenges that we were facing, and she expressed support. But it was not until she had the opportunity to serve as governor that she was able to speak from a different level, partner from a different level, and begin to move us in the right direction. And so, Governor Hochul, I want to say on behalf of the city of Mount Vernon and our 100,000 residents that we appreciate you, that we're grateful to you, that we're thankful that you have stood up in such a time as this to come together, to send your team to understand the magnitude of our challenges and to stand with us as we find solutions to move Mount Vernon into the future that our community deserves, and being willing to impart generational investments that will bring future change to our community. Thank you. And with that, our Governor Hochul.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. This truly is a new day for Mount Vernon. Long overdue. And there are so many people that we have to thank, but at this moment, before we talk about the good news, we have to recognize the pain that's in the hearts of so many of our residents. The loss of a teenage girl who was simply celebrating a victorious season for the Mount Vernon boys high school basketball team, winning the state championships. Our hearts are broken because of the loss of Kayla Green and too many young people that we've lost to the specter of gun violence, and it must end, my friends. It has to end with us. We have endured too much pain for far too long. And it was in November when we did a gun violence roundtable, something I wanted to bring to this community and talk about this as a new governor. And it was there we talked about what we could do and ban ghost guns and a lot of other initiatives, which are banned. I signed the law to ban it, but they still are so ever present in our community. So our fight continues. But it was during that visit to Mount Vernon that I had a very emotional conversation with our amazing mayor here, Shawyn Patterson-Howard, who I've worked with for many years. And she was pleading with me, and we followed up with a phone call where she was saying, you've got to help our people because they've been through so much. Why does it have to continue like this? And so I want you to stand on your feet and thank her for her leadership, our great mayor, Shawyn Patterson-Howard. Over there. Take a bow. Take a bow. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So she.
4 more years.
In the way, that's our sewer crew. They're
Okay.
the ones who do the work.
Okay, all right. As long as I'm talking about the great leadership of the city, let's talk about the people who are really getting GSD, getting, we'll say, stuff done here today. And let's hear a round of applause for our sewer crew. The guys in red, stand up. Thank you. Those are our guys. God bless you. Also, true leadership at the county level, because what we're going to talk about in a few moments is a beautiful public-private partnership, but primarily state, federal, local. But the county has been so instrumental in leadership, and that's what you get from an individual. And that individual's name is George Latimer, and I want to thank him for his leadership. And we're going to talk about a little bit of money that's coming here today. All right. The money comes from a budget, and I don't do this budget alone. Although I have a few scars, I feel like, I just went a couple rounds, okay, with Mike Tyson, maybe it felt. But the person I was happy to be in that arena with, the women in the arena, to quote a famous speech by Teddy Roosevelt, the woman in the arena with me was Westchester's own Majority Leader of the Senate, Andrea Stewart-Cousin. She delivers. And on the assembly side, you are so blessed to have an incredible leader who's out there fighting for you every single day. That is our assembly member, Gary Pretlow, who's been, thank you, Gary. Thank you. Now I get to brag on a little bit about my team, too. So after I had this conversation with the mayor, who, hearing the stories of her residents that were so heartbreaking, and talking about people like Linda and what they've had to endure literally for decades, and she was just begging us to do something, I turned to another strong woman. See a lot of connection here? Just saying. Let's give a huge round of applause to Catherine Garcia, the State Director of Operations, for taking the ball and running with it, because I put a lot on your plate, and it was very early in our administration. We had just dealt with not one but 2 hurricanes. We were trying to get billions of dollars out in rent relief. We had come here because of flooding. Everything was a mess, and we still had COVID to deal with. But I knew Catherine would follow through, and we would reach this day. And it actually came sooner than I anticipated because she would not give up on this community either. So Catherine Garcia, thank you. Thank you. But I needed an agency partner, someone who understood the power of government to help lift up communities. And we don't have to keep fining people and bringing them down when something happens, no fault of their own. And it took leadership in Basil Sagos, the head of the DEC, to get the job done here today. Let's give him a round of applause. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll give you a little side story about my DEC experience, but it was under a previous administration back to the Pataki days. Okay, I won't name which administration it was, but it's the Pataki days. Trying to be diplomatic here, okay? I was a local official, local government official. And I was always saying, why is always Albany beating up on us so much? Shouldn't they be helping us? We had a flood in our community, and it was going to wipe out this little golf course we had. That was a public golf course, and it was the only thing that people could afford in my community, and it was going underwater. And so our town stepped up, trying to save the golf course, and we put these boulders along the river to stop it, okay? Oh, boy. DEC slapped us with fines day after day after day, and Basil knew we have a different approach to our responsibilities here. We don't have to be on your back. We can actually be on your side, okay? That's what I wanted in my administration. Basil Sagos is making that happen. And to have Maureen Coleman, the president and CEO of EFC, here to help us with the resources we need. I want to thank Maureen. I want to thank Catherine Coleman Flowers. We have representation from the White House here as well, because our president is very concerned. Catherine Coleman Flowers, the vice chair of the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council. That is a big deal. White House showing up here in Mount Vernon. Let's give a round of applause. Everyone part of the Biden administration. Also, Lisa Garcia, the EPA Regional Administrator. Lisa, thank you for representing Washington so well. Lisa. Also, I can never come here without giving a shout out to the former senator, always a senator, Ruth Hazel Thompson, who joined. And I saved the best for last. That is a real person without a fancy title, but just living every day here in Mount Vernon, trying to just get by, and the adversity that was heaped on her and flowed up in her house. National attention and a spotlight on the plight of people in this community. Let's stand on our feet and give a round of applause to Linda McNeil and all the other homeowners who've endured so much. So, now I'll tell you why I'm here. Today, we are announcing the largest environmental justice victory in the United States of America this year. It is happening right here. We are talking about not just what environmental justice could mean in theory, because what does it really mean? We're actually going to put money behind making it become a reality. Because this is a case where justice has been denied for far too long. But it's not just environmental justice, which sounds like it's protecting the environment. This is also about racial justice, because this community has been hit down so hard, and its people are resilient, and they fight back, but sometimes things just get out of their control. So we're righting the wrongs where over 100 years ago, a train came through and divided this community. And then the sewers were better on one side of the tracks than the other side of the tracks. I wonder what that's all about. Okay? And businesses trying to struggle on Main Street, but have to deal with stuff coming up all the time, as well as the homeowners who suffered such indignities and persevered, as well as anyone could have. We're dealing with racial injustice here. But when you actually look at the pictures and see the videos and the films and the documentaries and the experience that people like Linda went through, this is also a moment of victory for human justice, because no human should be subjected to the disgusting experiences they had to endure for decades. It ends today. This is the beginning of the end. It's long overdue. And I'm going to talk to you about exactly what that means because it's got a lot of zeros behind it. We are committing. No, so I forgot to mention somebody. How did I miss? Did I mention Commissioner Bush? How did I not mention Commissioner Bush? All right, Commissioner Bush, you stand on your feet. You stand on your feet. You. Commissioner Bush, you are the man. You did it. You stuck through it. And imagine the frustration of being Commissioner Bush. Okay, okay? Someone buy that man a drink when he leaves there today. I mean, truly, what he has had to endure. And we have some reverends here, and I want to ask Reverend Franklin and Reverend Cohen Detroit to pray for all of us here, because we've been through so much. We've been through so much, but particularly this gentleman and his crew, because they went forth and did their job day after day without an end in sight, wondering if for the next 20 years they're just going to continue getting up there and just cleaning up the mess and talking to people and saying, well, someday somebody might pay attention, someday it might happen, somebody might care enough. You fought long and hard, my friend, and you endured. And as a result of that, this community also endured because of your strengths, and I commend you for being a true public servant in every sense of the word. Commissioner Bush. But now, Commissioner Bush, the sewer guys, the city of Mount Vernon, you don't have to go it alone anymore. We are your partner. We are your ally. We are at your side. And what we're announcing today is $150 million. $150 million to repair and strengthen your water system. You are welcome. You have been through enough. And no more Band-Aids. We're not into Band-Aids. No, Band-Aids don't save the body. We are going to address the sanitary and sewer system once and for all. So generations from now, they don't even know what we are complaining about. Because they'll say, what do you mean it wasn't always great like this? And you can tell the stories that your grandchildren who called your home the poop house, they'll tell their grandkids, like, Grandma's house smelled really sweet finally. Okay, we wanted to visit Grandma. So let's get started, okay? Let's start with $7 million to immediately as in now, and launch our engineering, design, and construction of the 3rd Street sewer line. Let's start with that. 3rd Street, help is on the way, 3rd Street. As well as $3 million from the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery pilot program to repair the homes and make them resilient and rehabilitate damaged pipes. So let's get that done as well. So I got a little bit of business to do. In order to make all this happen, we are announcing a city-county-state partnership agreement, an MOU, to work together to get this done as quickly as possible. So after I introduce the county executive, we're actually going to sign some official paper here, because I'm not waiting any longer. I'm not even waiting until I get back to Albany. I'm going to do it right here in Mount Vernon. Because I don't know, I might get, in a car accident or something. I want to get this. I want to get this done. Okay. Nothing better happened to me right now, though. Let's just. So I am really fired up, and I will tell you, I've been governor since the end of August. This is the most joyful day I've had, because. because what we're doing here today is so simple, but so overlooked. We're taking care of our people. And I'm so proud of your governor, and I'm going to keep taking care of you because you deserve a government that listens to you. Thank you. And let me bring up our county executive, George Latimer.
Brought my pen, ready to sign, ready to sign. First of all, so that Reverend Richardson, Reverend DeCohen, and Reverend Morton know that a little later this afternoon I'm going to be in a mood of penitence and humility, because that's what today is about. But right now, I've got nothing but joy in my heart on Good Friday. The announcement by the governor shows what leadership is. Sometimes we think leadership is being a tough guy, being loud, being a bully. Leadership is seeing a problem and solving it, and that's what you see today from this governor. Let me just recognize some of the key people here from Westchester County that are the partnership of this. You were already introduced, as you well know, our Deputy County Executive, Ken Jenkins, and the two county legislators that do a great job representing this city in White Plains, Tyree Woodson Samuels and David Tubiolo. Now, the actual people that are going to be working on the ground level with this, with the team of Mount Vernon DPW, is our Director of Operations, Joan McDonald, and our Commissioner of the Department of Environmental Facilities, Vincent Kopicki. I just want to tell a brief story. So as many of you know, I grew up, my parents' home was about a mile from here on South 14th Avenue between 2nd and 3rd. And I was 12 years old when my father called my attention. I was watching TV or doing something that was just goofing off, as 12-year-olds do. Apparently, we had a problem in our bathroom with a backup in the toilet. I need not say any more. So my father, who was a man of very few words, and he was a maintenance person by profession, head maintenance at Beach Point Club up in Mamaroneck, called his 12-year-old son to come over to watch what the problem was and how it was going to be fixed. Come here. So I came over there, looking, what's up, Dad? He's pointing to the toilet. He says, you got a problem here. I'm going to show you how to fix it. And there was a backup in the toilet, so we went downstairs, and ultimately it had to clean out a pipe and a trap. The most disgusting 20 minutes of my life that I can ever remember spending. You've had more than 20 minutes of this. 20 minutes is all I wanted to deal with. But, I was kind of a bookish kid. I even wore glasses in those days, for those of you who remember what I look like. And my father's there, and I got my hands firmly behind my back because I'm not touching anything. And he's pointing, he's going into the trap, and he's showing me this is how you're going to be. And I looked at that, and when it was done, he completed what had to be done and flushed the toilet. He looked at me and says, do you know how to do any of this stuff? Well, the answer is no, I don't. But, Dad, I know how to do one thing, and I know how to take this pen out of my pocket and sign an MOU that takes your money and solves your problems with the help of these people. I can do that. And for all of the homeowners, whether they're on Beechwood, or South 14th Avenue, Union Avenue, or Union Lane, whether they're on Kingsbridge, North Terrace, South Terrace, North High, South High, Livonia Avenue, Primrose, Chester, Urban, Overlook, Westchester Avenue, Rich Street, Archer, any of those streets. That's what this money is for. Thank you, Governor. Thank you. This is what leadership looks like. That's what leadership looks like. Do I sign? I sit down or I sign? I sign. Okay. Very good. This is the 15th day of April.
Nobody hears. Nobody hears. Nobody
Yes,
hears.
15th day of April.
No, turn it on.
15th day of April. I did my thing. Are they taking the pictures?
Madam Mayor?
I'm left-handed.
You see, she's correct-handed. Correct-handed. You keep that.
Keep the pens.
I got a whole collection. You had one of these.
I got a lot of them.
Yeah.
This is for you.
Oh, wow. Thank you.
Anybody else? Anybody else like a pen? I got extra pens. How many of these do you have? Gary's got a whole collection like that.
Thank you.
Wow. What a day. Governor, I think you nailed it. I was thinking this on my way down here as well. One could have a long and successful career doing environmental work and still not have anything close to what today is. And in my 6 years, Governor, as y'all are thinking, why is he still here? 6 years, this is my best day as well. Wow. Thank you, Governor. Thank you. And the governor nailed it. This is an environmental crisis. We're, of course, dealing with a wastewater situation in a city, of course, and the potential damage to the environment from a failing system. But this is a human crisis, most importantly. And we're dealing with not only a decaying infrastructure, but decaying infrastructure in a long neglected community of color. And I will give you some context on this as well, because I won't repeat the governor, but I will give you some context about the way this came to be. I've had the honor of knowing her for a long time. And she was the first governor ever to come into DEC's building. She came and met with my staff, which shows, I think, the dedication that she has to her people. She has been on numerous hikes. She's been all across the state, every single county. She's done things with us in the outdoors. But I saw the fire in her the day that she became governor. And it was actually just a few hours later that we had our first meeting on the environment. She brought in the EPA administrator, Michael Regan, into her office. And at that moment, in my view, prioritized the environment as part of the state's plans for moving forward. I had the chance to conceive of where this might go, right? The first few months of her tenure, the energy that she was bringing into this job, and the focus she was putting on everything. And I was wondering, how is this going to work out for DEC and for our efforts writ large? Come January, the governor spells out, and of course then delivers with legislative leaders, the biggest and most impactful environmental budget of any governor in New York history. And I want to recognize that right now. And I am a New Yorker, so no disrespect to the other states, but there isn't another governor doing this anywhere. Nowhere, right now. Whether it is addressing the climate crisis, expanding renewable energy, or wastewater, right? Environmental justice. It just simply isn't being done at this scale and with this sense of urgency as it's being done under her leadership. And I'm so honored to be part of her administration, be part of this amazing team, and to be able to come into a place like Mount Vernon and deliver real solutions and making government work for the people. Today is as the governor has spelled out, I believe, the biggest environmental justice announcement in the country this year, without a doubt, and perhaps one of the biggest in many, many years. A massive state investment in infrastructure and the creation, the forging of this team, right? These partnerships between the county, the city, the state, in coordination, Lisa, with the federal government and the EPA. We have decided to put all of these historical territories aside to fix a fundamental problem in this community. So the governor mentioned the $150 million rebuild. You just don't say that often, okay? We talk about statewide $150 million initiatives, and that is a big deal nationally. This is the city of Mount Vernon, $150 million. Very significant. So the governor spelled out some of the things that we'll be doing with that money. Starting right away, EFC will be dedicating $8 million to get this project going off the ground right away. That's $5 million for emergency work, another $1 million for lead service line replacement initiative that we're going to be undertaking this year. $7 million, that 3rd Street sewer project. And if I know you all know it, okay? Because the last time I was here, we were there together, and you showed it to me. I can't underscore how significant that is. That is the symbol of this entire crisis. A pump and generator in the middle of a residential street. Damani's creativity, his whole team, keeping it together through sheer will. And we're turning that around, going to create a real system for 500 houses. 500. And Katie Brennan has a really good idea, to be able to bring Governor's Office of Storm Recovery dollars to bear in people's homes quickly, right? So the types of things like lead service lines and valves that are failing, this is something we can begin to deploy immediately across the city and begin to show some real results. So this is a massive project. There's no doubt about it, and the mayor is right. This is going to take some time. But we are going to hit the ground running. We know how to do this. We have a unique partnership, and we're going to prove it that this change can start today. I want to call out a few people before I finish. On my team, specifically, Jim Tierney, where are you, Jim? Deputy Commissioner for Water. Poor Jim. Poor Jim, I beat the hell out of him for the last 5 months on this, but he's delivered. Kelly Turturro, my regional director. And I want to specifically recognize Joan. I know Joan's been called out, but Joan McDonald. Joan and I go way back. We served in the cabinet together, and we've known each other for a long time. That was one of my first calls to Joan, and she jumped right on this. And this is the result of some of that early partnership. Damani, I know you've been heralded, but you're the TV star now. There's obviously a concern you're going to leave town and go for Hollywood. But you've been holding the system together through sheer will, and I really want to thank you for doing everything you've done. I know I'm going on a bit too long, but I want to end with a special recognition of someone who is almost a family member at this point. How many times have we spoken, Mayor?
Friday nights at 6, 7, 8.
I think I talked to the mayor more than I talked to my 12-year-old. I'm not kidding. But I've so enjoyed getting to know you, and I am in awe of you. Let's give her a round of applause. I just want to thank you for your partnership and friendship. I mean, that's really where things start, right? Creating friendships and partnerships in a circle of trust. And we had that right away. You've been just a pillar of strength and perhaps calculated patience with us as we've pulled this all together. But with you at the helm, I am really confident that this is going to work, and you're going to be able to deliver real results for the people of Mount Vernon. So let's get to work. Okay. Great. So now it's my honor to introduce a fellow member of the cabinet, Maureen Coleman, who's the president and CEO of the Environmental Facilities Corporation. Maureen.
Hi. I love to see a full house here today. So I wanted to thank Governor Hochul, of course, Commissioner Sagos, Mayor Patterson-Howard, County Executive Latimer, and all your respective staffs for bringing us to this moment. An initiative this transformative requires bold, forward-looking thought, and this partnership demonstrates just that. I'm not going to speak about the state of Mount Vernon's infrastructure, because we all know the dire strait that it's in. But what I can speak to, Mayor, and Damani and your dedicated staff, is that we will be here with you and for you for many years to come. EFC is excited to administer much of the $150 million that Governor Hochul has dedicated to this important undertaking. As the administrator of the largest state revolving fund program in the nation, EFC is an organization well known for its expertise in managing capital resources and getting New York's most important environmental projects done efficiently and cost-effectively. EFC will deploy our talented staff of financial analysts, attorneys, engineers, and other professionals who will, along with DEC, DOH, and the Governor's Office of Storm Recovery, work with Mount Vernon and Westchester County to ensure these dollars are put to work quickly and to make sure the city is prepared to take advantage of the grants available through the federal bipartisan infrastructure law. Governor Hochul's announcement today is a giant step toward righting the wrongs of the past in this overburdened community. This announcement represents a sizable down payment on a long-term solution for the city. The funds announced today will provide the city the resources it needs to stop putting Band-Aids on the system and start developing a sustainable plan that will improve the environment and the public health and quality of life for Mount Vernon residents. Finally, this is a large commitment of resources by the state, but it's also a commitment to action for the health of this community. Okay. And I'm very, very proud to introduce, and I have to read because I'll forget, but Catherine Coleman Flowers, and we share a name, so that's good, Vice Chair of the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council.
This is indeed a joyous moment for me. I bring you greetings from Alabama. I got on a plane yesterday that was diverted to Baltimore because all of the airports were shut down in New York, and we got in late last night, my daughter and I, but I had to be here for this moment when I received the call. And I'm very, very thankful for everyone that was a part of this. It was just, my presence here is not because I'm the Vice Chair of the White House Environmental Justice Advisory Council. I'm here today because I'm Catherine Coleman Flowers from Lowndes County, Alabama, where we have where for over 20 years we have been fighting wastewater problems and sanitation issues. And in last year, we received a call from Anitra Hadley. I also work for the Equal Justice Initiative, and I got a call there from her inviting me to come and look at Mount Vernon because all of the work that we've done in my book is Waste, One Woman's Fight Against America's Dirty Secret. But I was able to come and see that it was not just a Southern problem and not just a rural problem, but also an urban problem. And one of the persons that I asked to come with me is Mitch Bernard, who is here today, because I also serve on the board of the Natural Resources Defense Council. And Mitch and I came here in July, and we came with a few other people, and we saw what was going on. And we left here holding up Damani as a hero. But this was, since I have been dealing with this issue, this is the first time I've ever gone into an area where the elected officials did not run from us. It was the mayor herself who took us around to show us what was going on. That was July. Then, of course, the governor became governor, and something happened. What we have seen here today is what happens when the state, the local government, and the county government works together. And hopefully, because of this day, that people in Alabama, where I'm from, where I've been fighting this same problem for over 20 years, would understand what true environmental justice looks like, and how we bring together people in partnership to try to solve the problems. And I am looking forward to the time to bringing people now to Mount Vernon, because every time I talk about wastewater issues, I always used to talk about Mount Vernon as an urban issue. But I want to be able to hold up Mount Vernon as a solution. And we're not gone yet. I'm going to come back to Demonte's graduation when he graduates from Columbia University as an engineer. And finally, hopefully out of all of this, what we would like to see Mount Vernon, the county, and the state of New York to do is to provide examples for those other communities that we're working with to try to get to sanitation justice. Thank you so much.
Yay, thank you. Wow. You know, I am so happy to be here today because this is rightfully a celebration. It is a celebration that many people would have thought could never, ever happen. Poor Miss McNeil, she'd been dealing with this for over 2 decades. I was there when Catherine came. And I remember Shawyn called and she said, no, you gotta come because we have somebody from the White House and she's gonna pay attention to what we're doing. And I was like, okay. She said, I just wanna make sure that she knows that we have local support, and even though you don't represent, because you know you have great senators representing Mount Vernon in the person of Jamal Bailey, yes, who couldn't be there, and Alessandra Biaggi. But I said, she said, no, you gotta come because I want her to know that even, the majority leader of the state, she really cares, everybody. So I said, okay. Honey, that's why we're here today, because this woman knows who to beg and how to beg, and obviously she is a successful beggar. So I came, and I'm sitting there, and it was really, of course, the commissioner, I didn't know I was supposed to bow when I showed up, but by the time I left, I got it. I was okay. I was horrified. I got to say, I was horrified. Because when Catherine came, and she said she's from Alabama, and, she had a film, and there were all these, situations that, she was explaining how people were living and were just too, they just couldn't, they didn't know how to fix this. And then you come to Mount Vernon, New York. It was shocking for her. And having people say they can't, it's like an assembly line to flush your toilet, to make sure that the right thing happens. And it was horrifying. And so I knew that we had to do something as a state. I knew that. And certainly my colleagues knew it. And on a county level, we have an amazing county government. And I knew that the county executive and his amazing team understood that something had to happen. But how that was supposed to happen was not clear. Mount Vernon kept working. Shawyn kept putting pieces together. And the thing that was really bothering me was the fact that the federal government was fining Mount Vernon, continues to this day, fining Mount Vernon, because once this stuff went into the Bronx River, and everybody said, oh no, this can't happen. Yeah, okay, you know, so I don't have to tell you. It became an issue, and all of a sudden, you gotta fix it. And all this time, she's begging for help to fix it. And still you're paying, what, $10,000 a day? $10,000 a day to try and fix a problem that we have been sounding the alarm about, that we're impacting people's day-to-day lives. However, then you get to the governor. Because when she became governor, besides, you know, and I guess you had the full flood effect from the moment. So she's very sensitive to water, because I think Hurricane Ida and you were like the same couple of days. She became the governor, and the flood. So she's very sensitive to water and how it can impact you. And although she stood up and talked about the bruising that happened during the budget, and it was a bruising experience, there was no fight about this. There was no fight about being a state that understood that we gotta fix what's happening right here, right now. And no matter what, we are going to be leaders in protecting our environment. We are going to be leaders in reinforcing our infrastructure. We are going to be leaders where leadership is being demonstrated on every level to make sure that this city is not only repaired, but yes, resurrected during this time, to be the leaders that it must be. So this is a celebratory day in so many ways. It's a celebration because finally, you know, especially in the heels of so much tragedy that has befallen everyone that's certainly here, to be able to say that again we rise, and we will continue to rise, and we will continue to point the way. And also it's a day to celebrate partnerships in government on the federal level, the state level, with all of our wonderful commissioners, and our partnership with the FC, and, you know, and our county, the new governor. But it's also a day where we know that we can't stop here. So I want to remind you of something. The biggest environmental bond is going to be on the ballot in November, in addition to, all right? In addition to the governor's race and the congressional races and our state races, there will be an environmental bond. Clean water, clean air, green jobs, $4.2 billion. So that not only Mount Vernon can be fixed, but we can fix all the other places that have been neglected and harmed and need to be shored up. Our wastewater treatments, our wetland, everything. But we have to collectively make sure that that bond passes. There'll be people explain to you, oh, it's a waste of money, you don't need that, what are they talking about? Please, you know what having money means in terms of being able to move this city forward. Let's do it for the state. Congratulations, Mount Vernon. Congratulations, Mount Vernon. And now it is my honor to introduce one of my favorite colleagues and your Assemblyman, the hardest working man for Mount Vernon in the Assembly, Assemblyman Gary Pretlow.
Thank you, Madam Leader, and it is afternoon now. Good afternoon, everyone. I don't have many stories to share with you. I'm here to express my gratitude to the young lady behind me to my left. She is small in stature, but she is a giant with enthusiasm. In her short 8 months as governor of the state of New York, she has been to Mount Vernon more times than any previous governor in their full terms. She listens, and that is so important. I have a legislation that actually mandates that the state look into environmental justice. That bill has been around for a while. That bill has not passed the Assembly or the Senate yet, but this governor bypassed that and went and did it. $115 million coming to this city for environmental justice. And we have people like Ms. McNeil, when they push the handle down, things should go down, not come up. It's just a great day for this great city, and I am just so happy that this is happening. We worked on it, and I can't forget our fantastic mayor. If you look up perseverance in the dictionary, there's a picture of Shawyn Patterson-Howard. That is perseverance. This is a woman that doesn't give up. She puts her sights on something, she sees the goal, and she goes straight forward, and that's really what we want to do. So I just remember, they had all the ministers, I still have one minister left, and I was going to say, when you deposit your sugar, honey, ice, and tea into the bowl, it should go down and not come back up. Thank you. Okay. And I also want to introduce Ms. Linda McNeil, who's really started this.
Wow. Wow. I had no idea that this would come to this, but wow, wow, wow. Madam Governor, Madam Mayor, I have to thank you so much, but you said today's your best day. I'm going to top that. This is my best day in 22 years. 22 years. My daughter couldn't be here today. She's in Barbados, luckily for her. Everybody here knows my story. I'm gonna keep it short, but today's a beautiful spring day, but as the weather warms, most people can enjoy the weather. I worry about the summer storms that are coming. I'm still recuperating from the last 2 floods from last year. It takes time, money, and effort. In all the years I've been living in Mount Vernon and many administrations, it's the first time, the very first time that I actually see a change. And I cannot thank our mayor enough here. Jumani. My DPW guys, they actually kept me sane. Yes. They held me when I cried. They call and check on me every few weeks, and if I call and my sink is running slow, that's the first sign. I know my house so well. The tub is running slow and the Drano doesn't work. I call Bobby, and within an hour, they're here. I just can't believe this day is here. I did not expect this. When I was told that I was instrumental in this, I couldn't believe it, because many residents here in Mount Vernon have had to deal with this for many years. But I don't know if anybody's had it consistently, flood and sewer, every year for 22 years. So I just want to thank everybody for this. This is the beginning of the end of my nightmare, and hopefully for the rest of Mount Vernon as well. Thank you. Thank you. I'm going to introduce our mayor, Mayor Shawyn Patterson-Howard. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So, you know, where there were things I wanted to say when I got up here in the beginning, but I couldn't mess up the surprise. But I need you to really, really understand, because if you haven't watched Wasteland, it's out on Paramount Plus. Please do. It's a half-an-hour documentary. So to Miss McNeil, whose family couldn't wash their clothes, run their dishwasher, take showers, and flush the toilet, and needed to call the sewer crew on weekends just to do a bypass so they could do what people hate, your weekend chores, right? They had to have a crew out there so that they could take showers and do laundry and do dishes. That's not right. To Mr. Santos, who runs a construction company and a liquor store and has an apartment on top of his business, who it got to the point that 40, 50 feet of sewer, when we opened the ground, there were no pipes. They couldn't flush their toilets. He had porta potties outside of his home and outside of his businesses. To Mr. Fletcher and his beautiful little girls, who had to eat early and not drink after 7, because you don't want anyone to have to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night and then there's a challenge. People shouldn't have to decide what time they can eat and when they can't eat. We should be able to take showers and flush our toilets and do laundry. I mean, these are just basic things. And Ms. Coleman Flowers said it really, really well when she came up last year. She said 20 minutes north of Broadway, where I bring my daughter to see The Lion King, people can't flush their toilets. This is not what she expected in an urban community with a municipal sewer system, but it is a challenge that we have had. And so I just give me one more minute, because Ms. Reed, can you please stand up? And Steve Lawrence, are you in the room? So I asked her to stand, not because she's my current chief of staff, because she took on the responsibility, along with Mr. Lawrence, is he out there, of doing the grants and writing grants. And back in 2016, when I was planning commissioner, we wrote our first grant and received $1.6 million for stormwater, and they continued to write grants after that. You know, it's incredible. We wrote a grant in 2016. We were awarded in December of 2016, and we didn't start spending it until I came back home in 2020. Look at God. There was money hidden in the cookie jar, and we started using the cookies to take care of the community. And then they went back and they stayed up all night. You know, we're under-resourced, but that's when it takes grit, because it's not just about skill, it's about sheer will, passion, and determination. And so I want to say thank you to my team, because they have sheer will, passion, and determination. I could beg, but if they didn't write, I begged, I prayed, I pleaded, and what did Senator Schumer said? Every once in a while, she even squealed. Absolutely, right? We do whatever. We spin, dip, twirl, we pray, we cry. But in the end, we come together and we're getting the work done. We're not talking ish, we're getting ish done, right? It's holy as Good Friday. We can't say it, right? There's Steve. Wave, Steve. to my entire DPW crew, not just the sewer team, because the rest of the DPW crew has to come and back them up all the time. And so we thank you. We are, even to the fire department and the police department. Why? Because they have sewage backups in their building. So this wasn't just a residential issue. It wasn't just a business issue. It affected our municipal buildings as well. So thank you for your patience. Damani, please stand again. How old are you, 33? You're 33? 32? So, how often do you have a 32-year-old as the head of your DPW department? Well, I saw him work for 11 years as the principal clerk, and he was always the bridesmaid and never the bride, and so now he's the DPW commissioner. But I wanted him to stand because when Damani had COVID, right? When Damani had COVID in 104 and 105 degree temperature, he couldn't come in the building, but he was literally at home. He was laying on his computer, calling into Jen, calling into everyone, calling into Kristen, who was our compliance officer for the grants, and we were responding to consent decrees. He was on the phone with federal judges because we could only have Zoom meetings as we talked about daily fines and millions of dollars of fines. And we said, look, Quadopa Street is not really far. We know how to get there. We'll put ourselves in jail, but we can only do what we can do. And so, Damani, to you and your mighty crew, we want to say thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to wrap this up. I'm going to wrap it up to Brian Johnson, the head of our Corporation Council. And John Parker, who's been our environmental attorney. It's not easy when you have a team of 2 or 3 who are trying to defend itself against state and federal, and but now there are partners, and so we won't talk about that for long. But it's been a challenge to Commissioner Spruill of the Water Department and our Water Superintendent, John Arena. And to the people behind the scenes, to Mr. Tom Scaglione, who's been playing the voice of God in the back. To Brian Heck, who is not with the office but is now with the county, right? So he's still part of this partnership. And to Edgar Santana. I mention their names because they've worked consistently behind the scenes with the governor's office. They were the regional directors. They were interfacing with us. They took my calls when I was screaming, when I was crying, when I was praying, when I was begging. I mean, they took the calls. When they wanted to just say, I'll call you later, they were like, Madam Mayor, how may I help you? And so I have to acknowledge them publicly because that's where it stood. You couldn't always get directly to the governor. You have to go through levels, right? And so thank you for allowing your team to work with us. And definitely, Commissioner Sago said it, we've become friends and family. Really, when someone is calling you on Fridays at 5 and 6 o'clock and you pick up the phone and you used to sound like a giddy cheerleader. I mean, he was like, Mayor, I can't tell you much, but I just, some more members are coming on the team, some more things are happening. I'm like, tell me how much money. I can't say, but good things are happening. And so we're sending each other memes, and I'm excited and giggle things or crying tears. And it was getting ready to go on vacation. Like, it really is personal when people are leaving to go on vacation and they're on the way to the airport and they're texting you and they're here's my deputy commissioner, here's our administrator, here's the other commissioners. Oh, you know how to get in touch with Catherine at the bank because EFC, she came here the last time, she says, I'm the bank, right? Boom. So, we're just excited. This has been an incredible journey. Our journey is just beginning. As you said, we're going to GSD, right? We're going to get it done. And I just want to say thank you. Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone who's here today. Thank you to everyone who's watching. Thank you to everyone who will be a part of this going forward. Thank you. A few weeks ago, our Senator Schumer and our Congressman Bowman announced $3 million that they had secured to help us start the study, because we have to, you can't just spend money. You have to make sure you're spending it right. And this is what we have to do. Our Senator Jamal Bailey, our Congressman Bowman are not able to be here today. Megan is here representing Senator Schumer. Senator Bailey has representatives if they're. There you go, here in the office. Congressman Bowman has his representative here, Mr. Quantel Bazemore. Congressman Bowman brought, 15 staff in a bus, and they rode around Mount Vernon with me for 3 hours and wanted to see where our challenging places. So our electeds are coming together. This is not politics. We are developing relationships, authentic relationships, because the work that we have to do throughout our community, throughout our county, throughout our state, and throughout our nation are significant. This is not ceremonial. This is not about picture and photo opportunities. This is about the significant work that needs to be done, and we have amazing partners. So, Governor, with that said, anything else?
We are done. Let's get to work.
We are done.